In secular models of leadership, a king is imagined to be the ultimate authority. King Belshazzar in Daniel's prophecy was typical of heathen kings. Daniel warned him, "The God in whose hand is your breath and whose are all your ways, you have not honored." But the Lord's kings should live differently, relying on the God of heaven for their blessing. And God's people should seek the blessing of their king, as 1 Timothy 2 commands us. Psalm 20 is a prayer for divine blessing upon God's kings. It is like a liturgy for the day of battle as the king led Israel's troops against her enemy. The psalm is summed up in the final verse, "O Lord, save the king." The first 5 verses are a string of petitions for God to care for his anointed one. They assume that the king will face many troubles, but that in his distress, he would call on God and the Lord would answer him. The prayers expect the king to offer sacrifices to God and that the Lord would honor his devotion. A godly king delights in God and will realize the desire of his heart, as verse 4 suggests. Such a leader would be easy to follow. The citizens beneath him could happily pray, as verse 5 says, "May we shout for joy over your salvation, and in the name of our God set up our banners." To keep Israel's kings reliant on him, God instructed them not to gain the typical weapons of their age. Verse 16 of Deuteronomy 17 says this, "He must not acquire many horses for himself." In other words, God was saying, make sure he doesn't build up a war machine, amassing military horses and chariots. God's people, and especially her king, should believe, as Psalm 33 says, that the king is not saved by his great army. The war horse is a false hope for salvation. So Psalm 20 verse 7 says this, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will trust in the name of the Lord our God." Sadly, the allure of military strength is strong, and Solomon gathered together chariots and horsemen. He had 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horsemen, 1 Kings 10:26 says. We should not place our hope in our strength. Eventually, Solomon failed, like his father David, the author of this poem, also failed. But Psalm 20 directs our faith to Israel's greater king, Jesus. His right hand and his holy arm have worked salvation for him, Psalm 98 verse 1 says. He has worked salvation also for us. This is Psalm 20. To the choir master, a psalm of David. May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and give you support from Zion. May he remember all your offerings and regard with favor your burnt sacrifices, Selah. May he grant you your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. May we shout for joy over your salvation, and in the name of our God set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving might of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we trust in the name of the Lord our God. They collapse and fall, but we rise and stand upright. O Lord, save the king. May he answer us when we call.